Going into the third test, Australia had a lot of questions to be answered. How are they going to recover from the shock loss at the MCG? How are David Warner and Will Pukovsky going to perform? How are the middle order going to perform? The only thing that was settled and stable going in was their bowlers, who've consistently performed well, especially Mitchell Starc in the last couple of games, Pat Cummins, Josh Hazlewood, as consistent and potent as they usually are. And looking at day one, Australia seemed to have responded, with David Warner in obvious discomfort, lumbering between wickets, not looking comfortable with the crease. It was obvious that he wasn't fully ready to get back on the park, but Australia, almost with the form of their other openers, barring Matthew Wade, a makeshift opener, were almost desperate to get him back on as kind of like a saving race sort of thing. As to India with Rohit Sharma getting rid of Mayank Agarwal after some poor returns. It was after that Pukovsky, after a rusty start, and Labuschagne started to get the innings going, and Labuschagne was looking as comfortable as he has been all series, destined to make a big score, with his last three games at the SCG yielding 230 runs, giving him a solid average there. It was time. He's been destined for a big score all series, and now it's time. Him and Pukovsky batted most of the way through the remainder of the rain-interrupted first day. And the second day, Pukovsky was out late on day one, so that brought the two best batters in the Australian team with both 60 averages to the crease. Steve Smith and Marnus Labuschagne, who put on 100 runs down before a little bit of impatience from Marnus Labuschagne cost him his wicket on 91. Smith carried on and showed his return to form with a brilliant 27th Test 100. But then again, Australia's middle order failed, with Matthew Wade coming and going for a quick 5-13, and Cameron Green getting a 22 ball duck, who after that innings, so that he gets very nervous, going out to bat, Tim Payne getting out for one. The only real person to stay with Steve Smith to help him get 100, to help Australia pass 300, was Mitchell Starc, who got 26. So Australia's middle order wobbles from that first innings was still there, and that batting collapse showed that even though they got off to a better start, they're still in a bit of trouble at some points. India then responded, batting pretty solidly for losing a couple of wickets at the end of the day, with Pujara scoring a very slow and composed 50. However, some, such as Ricky Ponting, suggested that this derailed the Indian team slightly, putting pressure on the middle order and people batting around him to score quickly. India being bowled out for 242 after injuries to Jadeja and Pant, thumb and elbow respectively, restricting the tourists. Australia had a 92 run lead, and David Warner came out again and was looking positive before he was caught behind. Will Pukovsky also came and went. That brought Smith and Labuschagne back again. But although Labuschagne and Smith didn't convert. The story was Cameron Green. He scored a brilliant 83, showing in his last 33 runs after posting 50 how he can clear the rope and show some aggression and play some attacking shots. This was Australia's best batting performance in the second innings against an undermanned lineup with India without Jadeja, with Shirley getting 5 for 300, setting India 408 to win. But the game itself has been overshadowed by some racial abuse. It's reported by Jaswant Bumrah and especially Mohammad Siraj fielding at the fine leg boundary. And this has particular importance to me as I was in the Brongal stand on days 2 and 3 where this abuse supposedly took place. The thing that I can say is that with my experience there, I did not hear of anything remotely and directly racial. I did hear of some irritated comments by fans near me when Siraj didn't turn around to say hello, but there was nothing past that. And I feel that obviously something would have happened, as usually the spirit of the game is there with both teams and fans are well behaved, but it's going to be tricky to tell through the recorded footage what happened, how it happened, and to prove that it was racial abuse. So it'll be interesting to see how that develops. Tim Payne also got fined for dissent by the towards the umpire after an LBW review went against him. He has again shown, especially in this game, poor use of the DRS, and that should be worked on. But in the second innings, he did return to some form after being dropped, so that was a positive sign. This is an intriguing final day, with India needing 300 to win, with 8 wickets in hand. It'll be interesting to see how the racial controversy, the game, and everything in between pans out for the final day, and where the final test will be played, whether it will be at the Gabba or whether it will be back in Sydney. Only time will tell. And the Sydney Sixers won another thriller last night, beating the Brisbane Heat, who were on a superb roll, winning 3 straight prior by 3 wickets with 0 balls remaining. Dan Christian icing the game and top scoring with 60 not out, after Daniel Hughes continued his form, getting a 50. But if he didn't get out, the Sydney Sixers would have cruised to a 6 wicket win with a few more balls to spare. But it looks like the ladder is tightening, with the Heat going up and the Scorchers winning 4 in a row after returning back home. The Thunder continuing some form but losing 2 of their last 3, dropping back down to second. So it'll be interesting to see how the Big Bash pans out in the back half of the season.